we have our build hours data table up and ready to go, and we're going to cover how to use this import data button in our data table. Now, it's important to note that no matter what data table you're using, no matter where your information is coming from, you will have this import data button with the same three options. Now, if I go ahead and click import data, it will pop up our options. Now, I'm going to go a little bit out of order, and it's for a purpose, so stay with me. Right here, if I go to refetch schedule import and click that, it's going to open up this little pane and tell me the schedule, when it's going to pull the information next. You can see that right now it is not scheduled, so there's no information here. However, if you had scheduled it when you brought the information in, you'll see dates here. Now, I really like this button because I can refresh all the information in my table immediately just by clicking this refetch data now. It's going to go back to my data source, grab all the new information, and come and refresh my table and get all the new information that may have been added. So that's super nice to have there. Another thing is that this edit button is right here. Now, if you don't want to go clear over here to your more button and then find your data sources and go through your 100 different places that you have information connected, you can just say, all right, I know I want to redo the schedule or change something on the schedule of how it pulls in information, and I know it's the build hours table. I'll just click edit here, and it takes me directly to the data source and lets me schedule everything right here. Now, I've done this in another video, so I'll let you go find that one, and I'm gonna go ahead and cancel out of this. So it brings me back to my data table. Now, the next little button I want to cover is actually the first one. So we've covered how to refetch, immediately grab all the information out of our data source and update our table. Next, we'll go to import data into this table. Now, you might think that sounds exactly the same, importing data into this table. That's exactly what we just did. And it can be. However, the best example of using this versus refetch import that I can think of is if when I brought in my information, I grabbed an old version of a file. Now, say I'm bringing in budget information from 2023, and I grab that file, and then I come to my table and find, oh, why are all the dates 2023? Oh, I forgot, I'm supposed to bring in 2024 instead of 2023. This button makes it easy to do that. And if I go ahead and click import data into this table, you can see it brings me straight back to bringing in our connections, connecting to something else, and this is where I could come in and say, okay, I need to grab a different Excel file, and so I'd go find the Excel connection or my Google Sheet connection, and I would grab it, and it would put all that information in the place of the old file that I had. Now, be very careful with this because the columns you have currently in your data table have to match the new information you're bringing in, otherwise it will throw an error. All right, so now if I go ahead and get out of this, I'm actually going to delete it there so it gets me out. Perfect. One last button here. Import data is this import data into new table. Now, for the most part, I think this is useless actually, but if we go ahead and click this, it's going to allow us to create a new table. Now, why they have it right here in our data table isn't really helpful since we want to be seeing everything about our data table, but I guess if you just forgot to add a new table, that button's there, and it opens up your connections, and then you add a completely new table. All right, now, those are the three options we have under import data. I hope that was helpful. In the next video, we'll go through filtering, which is much more in depth. You can do way more with it. I'm way more excited about that video. I'll see you there.